Even though our airfield is relatively remote, we still see a large number of transports ferrying more troops and supplies towards the south, towards the battle. The artillery is firing constantly, and I wonder how many rounds they must have stockpiled to keep shooting at such a rate for so long. I'm glad that I'm no longer with my old artillery unit. They might be a part of this battle as well, and seeing so many guns shoot at the same time might have been an awesome sight, but I'm sure that by now I would have had a frightful headache. Even so, the thunder of the guns is audible as a constant rumble. The offensive seems to be going well, and our men are advancing all along the battle line. We hope that they will succeed in breaking through the defensive lines and break this stalemate. Maybe even force France to sue for peace. Von Seber-Riedhoff, the flight lead, was furious because his claimed victory for the balloon was rejected. The reason given was that due to the dust in the air, it was not possible to visually confirm the destruction of the balloon by an independent observer on the front line. Royce flat out stated that he was looking up into the sky to make sure that nobody interfered with von Seber-Riedhoff, and so did not see him shoot down the balloon. This earned him a truly murderous look from the flight lead. There seems to be some bad blood between the members of this unit. I hope this can be resolved before it becomes an issue in the air. I think the real reason why the claim was rejected might be that the new officer in charge of confirming the victories is not fond of von Seber-Riedhoff and the way he got his victories confirmed so far. I foresee a lot more frustration in von Seber-Riedhoff's future. Hello there, and welcome to a new episode of our amazing Wings Over Flanders Fields campaign, where we are playing as the German pilot Felix von Berg, flying this lovely Fokker E2 for Kampfeinsatzkommando Jametz, based at Jametz Airfield near Verdun. It is now the 23rd of February 1916, so the third day of the Battle of Verdun. We have flown a mission on the first day, where we went across the lines with our flight, and our flight lead took out an observation balloon. We did not encounter any enemy planes that day, but it might be different this time. However, today we have another enemy that we have to face, the weather. We can see here that a bad weather front is moving in today, and I can actually change the time when we are flying, so right now it is almost 10:30. If I accelerate this a little bit, we can see that at midday there will be really bad weather, and it is not advised to fly in that. The bad weather front will also move away in the afternoon. So I can now select, do I want to fly before the bad weather front moves in, or after it has passed through? I think I want to fly before, so we will be flying at 10:30. There will still be bad weather. The outskirts of the bad weather front will have already reached the area, of that I'm sure, but it still won't be as bad as it will be during midday. Now usually I would skip such a day when we expect bad weather, but since we have a battle currently going on and the frequency of operations is high and the battle has just started, I will fly on those bad weather days where it's not getting too bad. If I see that basically almost the whole day is red, then I might just skip that day because it's a really bad idea. But here, if we fly here, we should be able to fly and return back to our airfield before the bad weather front really moves in. So that's my hope. Well, it also depends on where they are sending us, but we'll see about that in just a moment. Something else, I could also request leave. I'm not going to request leave for at least the first week or maybe the first 2 weeks of the battle. Then I might do it, and it can be rejected, of course. Another thing, one of you has mentioned in the previous episode in the comments that I could give myself a Fokker E3. And yes, I am aware of that. If I click on this here, we go to the workshop, to the inventory, and here on the right side I can assign other aircraft to the members of the squadron. We do have 3 Fokker E3s in reserve, it says it right here. So I could go ahead and give everybody an E3. However, I'm not going to do that right now. First of all, I do want to experience the Fokker E2 for a bit. And second of all, the difference in performance between these two aircraft is minuscule really. It's essentially the same aircraft with the same power plant, so the E3 also has the same engine. The only difference really, when it comes down to it, is that the E2 has smaller wings, and so is on the one hand more nimble but also more unstable. And the E3 has a bigger fuel tank and, well, bigger wings, so it climbs better. And that's more or less about it. The pilots with the lower rank in the squadron are assigned the lower ranking plane. So in this instance, the E2. We can see here that everybody who is an Unteroffizier is assigned an E2, while the others have an E3. I'm gonna leave it like that for now. I might change my mind later, but for now we are going to leave it like this. And well, if one of the E3 pilots smashes up his plane, he still has a reserve plane allocated to him. So there's that. Okay, now let's go ahead to the briefing and let's see what kind of mission they will send us on. What is it going to be? Oh, okay. Briefing from the Commandant. Meine Herren, our mission is patrol enemy front lines. Patrol enemy lines. Be on the lookout for enemy aircraft and ground fire. Our destination is the enemy's front sector of the French 51st Division. Approximate distance 13 miles. They recommend that we fly at an altitude of 3000 meters, which I hope will take us above the worst of the clouds. We will patrol the area for at least 24 minutes. Our patrol distance along the front sector is 9 miles. So, if we have a look, yeah, we'll just be basically on the fringes of the battle. The battle is really centered on the east bank of the Mius River. And we are going to patrol here. This little stretch. So we are going to take off, fly to our circle up waypoint, fly to waypoint 1, then follow or fly along the river to the south until we reach the enemy's positions, and then we'll patrol the front line before we return back to Yamets. I think it's not too bad that we are staying a bit out of the way. I'm sure that the enemy's efforts will also be concentrated in this bulge where the battle is fiercest. So being a little bit away from that is not a bad thing. Okay, let us go to the field. Check the weather. Overcast, broken or partial cloud cover and snow in places. Wind 8 knots, gentle breeze from the west. I'm sure that's about to change later in the day, but for now it might be a little bumpy. This doesn't tell you anything about gusts of wind. But we'll see. For now, let's go to the field and fly the mission. There will only be the two of us, so I kind of hope that we don't run into enemies, to be honest. But we'll see. Welcome to the field. Okay, Ritter is ready to turn on his engine. Yeah, I'm doing the same. Oh. That sounded like a gun salvo in the vicinity. Guess we may have an artillery battery nearby or something like that. Let's go. And we are in the air. Nice. The weather still seems pretty fine, but the bad weather system should be moving in from the west, which is directly in front of us, and indeed, if I look in that direction, we can see clouds towering higher and higher. Meanwhile, in the east, the skies are clear. So that over there is coming this way. And we want to be home before it arrives here. I hope that our patrol doesn't take us into that mess. Because we will be going a little bit westwards. Oh yeah. But okay, we'll see. For now, I'm going to follow Ritter. Ritter was it, right? Let me check real quick. Rudolf Ritter, yeah. We will be following Ritter to our circle up waypoint. Oh, okay. We have some gusts of wind. This is making things interesting. Okay. We'll follow him to the circle up waypoint, and from there to waypoint 1, and then to south to the front. So I guess I'll see you once we are closing in on the front lines, unless something unexpected happens along the way. If I blip the engine, I think I can really hear guns shooting. Nice. Okay. Let's continue. Welcome back. We have made our way to the front lines. I think that the French position where we are commencing our patrol along the front is pretty much more or less directly beneath us, or we should be coming up to it very, very soon. You can see here that the blasted landscape stretches out to this side and to that side, and we can also see now that today the weather is a bit better than it was last time, that there is really a bulge in the front here. We can see that the blasted area comes from that direction, and there he is. It comes from that direction over there, and it extends out that way, and well, have to be a little bit careful, and then curves to the south and goes over that way. So yeah, that made it that much more difficult for the French defenders to hold on to this part of the front line. Much more difficult. I expect us to commence our turn towards the west at any moment. The weather over there, it does look bad, and I really do hope that we will not fly into that stuff over there. That will turn back around before we reach it. Oh, a little bit of wind here, but it's okay. Yeah, I really hope so. I think we should be alright, but I can't say at the moment. In any case, we should be turning around very soon. Oh, did he start the turn already? I think he already started the slow turn. Yeah, looks like it. Okay, so we are now above the enemy positions. Down there beneath us. Yeah, I'll follow him. We'll fly our patrol. They said it was, I think, was it 9 miles? Check, yeah, 9 miles. 9 miles this way and back, and that for 24 minutes. Do we have enough fuel? I hope we do. We should. We should have enough fuel for that. Yeah. No anti-aircraft fire yet, which is interesting. It really looks, at least in these first days of the battle, as if the French defenders were really overwhelmed by it all. Or are really overwhelmed by it all. I don't see any French airplanes in the sky. We are free to fly along the front line here, apparently without being disturbed. So, we'll continue to do just that. Let's resume the video. if something happens along the way. Welcome back. We have something in front of us. We are currently flying back towards our starting point for our patrol along the front. So we have been back there. We did not fly as far as the rain clouds. And we are currently flying back, and something is in front of us. I see 2 dots in the sky that had just received anti-aircraft fire. That looks like French observation planes. But there's 2 of them. I'm not sure if we'll engage. 2 of them can cover each other to some degree. So going after them with only just the 2 of us might be a bit risky. Also, they are currently in the process of flying back towards their own side of the lines. And we are already on the line. So we might decide not to go after them, even though I wouldn't have anything against it. We are getting closer as of now. But I suspect that if we are moving in towards them, they will go into a dive and gain on us. We'll see. Looks like they might be flying away from us right now. What do you say? What's your decision? You are flight lead here. Okay, the quadrants are going into a turn. Not sure why. No, they definitely turned away from us now, but it also looks as if we want a taste of them. Okay. Okay. I'll stay behind him. And for the moment, just observe what he's doing before we go and strike as well. But yeah, the French pilots are diving their airplanes. Gotta make sure that my view is centered properly, so that I can a bit easier stretch up and have a look down my iron sights. Well, we might get to use our new machine gun for the first time today. We are diving after them, but the Caudron, once it goes into a dive, can be fast, and we are now receiving anti-aircraft fire. So these things have either been on a reconnaissance or on a bombing mission and are returning home, but came across our path, and that's bad for them. Yeah, we are in a full-on dive here basically. Or at least those 2 are, and we are going after them. Who is Ritter choosing as his target? Looks like he might be going after the right one. Let me get over on his left side then. No, he switched targets. He's going after the left one. Do I go after the same one? He's shooting. Yeah, he was shooting a salvo and is peeling away. Probably the gun on the Caudron was returning fire. Do I want to... What do I want to do? The right one... Which one is closer actually? I think they are flying basically next to each other, which is a good idea on their part. Yeah, that sounds like a lot better. We have a jam. That did sound a lot better, but our machine gun jammed. Let me... Yeah, okay, Ritter is flying away. I'm gonna follow him. I'm not going to go any closer to the French airfields on my own. We put a salvo into that cadran, and I think a few of my rounds at least hit. So he has something to remember me by. But I'm not gonna go out there alone. Not when we don't know what else might be in the area. And Verdun is pretty close. And near Verdun the French have some airfields that these squadrons are probably diving towards. So I'm not risking it. I'll stay with my flight lead. We both made a pass at them and scared them away, and that has to be enough for now. Now I just need to get back to him and not be hit by the anti-aircraft fire. Which I think we'll manage because it's not that heavy right now. Yes, we did shed some height, but this is okay. This is okay. Do we want to take a closer look at one of the controls? We can... I think we can do that. Let me just check. Now they're too far away already. I can't select them as a target for the camera. So... yeah. Unfortunate. We'll take a closer look at them another time, I'm sure. Anti-aircraft fire. But we should be back over the lines really soon. How's my fuel looking? We might want to think about heading back to Yamets, actually. So it's maybe really good that we turned away and didn't pursue deeper into enemy territory. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And also, the bad weather is moving in. And I do want to be home before we have to fly through clouds to reach it. So let's just head back. I am slowly catching up with Ritter. There he is. I suspect that we'll fly home on a direct path. So I'll put a break into the video here. And we'll resume it once we are about to land. Or maybe if something else crosses our path. Welcome back. So, here we see Ritter circling. It looks as if he's not flying home to Yamets. I think he wants to make a landing at a closer airfield, which is beneath us. The airfield at Civry-sur-Meuse. That airfield is much closer. It's down there. And it looks as if he wants to land here. I'm not sure why. Maybe he got hit by one of the gunners on the quadrants. That could be an explanation. Now, I do have enough fuel to... Uh-oh. No! I'm landing at Civry. Oh shit. Did I get hit? Well, in any case, I'm going down, and... I don't like it, but... I'm turning off my engine. I don't want to catch it on fire because of oil getting on something that's a bit too hot for it. So yeah, I'm going down. So That's great. Looks like we are both landing at Civry. My new E2. A quick solo flight to test the aircraft. And then the first patrol or the balloon busting mission. Then today's patrol. And already the engine is busted. And is spewing oil out. Looks like we are using it somewhere here on the left. And looks like Civry is on fire. Maybe those cadrons visited Civry airfield and dropped a few bombs. I think that's quite likely. The building is on fire. I don't think we are quite in range of French artillery, although I can't be sure of that. In any case, there is no choice. We are landing. I doubt that my engine would have made it back to Yamet. And well, in any case, it would have been too dangerous to fly that long with the engine spewing out oil without an immediate need to do so. So it is better to go and land here, which is looking like I can do fairly well. Let's flare out. And there we are. We landed at Civry. I would like to get out of the way, but I don't have the speed for it. I must hope that he doesn't run into me when he's landing. What's going on down here? There's a truck driving up. Maybe that's the firefighting crew. And it looks like those are Pfalz airplanes. Basically a licensed version of the Morin-Saulnier. Very much outdated at this point. You can see that it is a monowing design with wing warping, just as we have. But the wing is mounted higher up, so the wing is not mounted on the fuselage down here, but is basically suspended above the fuselage, which gives it a really weird look. I can't see from this angle if those are 1- or 2-seater designs. I think it's a single-seater design, so that would make it the Pfalz E, I think. So yeah, I see a machine gun on the front there. So these are fighters as well, mostly used by, I think, the Bavarian forces. I'm not sure if the Saxons use them as well, and the forces from Baden-Württemberg. They might have used them as well. No, I don't think the Saxons used them. I think it was mostly the Bavarians. At this point in the war, very much outdated. Really so. Okay. There's a truck driving there. Yeah, we have stopped spewing oil everywhere. Let me check for damage, actually. Did we get hit? I don't see any bullet holes, but I can't quite discard the possibility. I do see, you might see it as well, just below my left wing there. We do see some red streaks on the fuselage, or some brown streak. That's where the oil got out. Also some streaks over there on the other side. And yeah, I actually see a drizzle of oil pooling beneath my plane. Oh, that's nice. Very nice. Okay. Just waiting for Ritter to make his descent. Looks like they managed to put out a fire here, but it's still smoking. Yeah, my guess is that these quadrants that we engaged actually bombed Civry airfield. And we arrived just a little bit too late to cut them off. If we had managed to cut them off, I'm sure that we would have gone in for decisive engagement. But once the quadrant is able to go into a dive like that and just more or less keep the distance open. Yes, our planes are faster, but if the quadrant is diving like that, it does pick up quite a bit of speed, and we are closing the distance. We aren't closing it rapidly enough to really force a decisive engagement. Going for a pass like we did with our machine gun is really the only sensible thing in that situation that we can do. And speaking of our machine gun, the rate of fire is finally machine gun-like. So the Spandau, much better synchronization gear apparently that we have on this plane, and we are able to really have some nice rate of fire going. Unfortunately, the machine gun did jam pretty quickly. I hear more engines. I hope it's not more quadrants arriving. Doesn't sound like it, but you never know. Did I hear more engines? Or is my mind playing tricks on me? I do hear engines that way, I think. Probably somewhere pretty much high up directly above me or something like that. Yeah, it must be somewhere high up where I can't quite make them out against the sky. It can actually be pretty difficult to spot a plane, even in an empty sky. One engine noise is increasing, and that is Ritter coming in. He's coming in from the other direction. And it doesn't look as if I'll be in his way. At least I hope that's the case. I was really concerned that I'd be in his way and... Hey, why are you coming at me? Oh no? Look, I'm not dying to something like this. If he's indeed coming directly for me, I'm going to the debrief. I'll just hit the button. I'm not dying to something like this. This is too stupid of a reason. This really is too stupid. Oh my god! Didn't leave it a lot of room there. I guess he wanted to show off a little bit. Ooh! I'll wait until he turns off the engine. I definitely hear another engine in the sky. There. Another Fokker, I guess. A green one. Yeah, it's a green one. I guess he's about to land as well. Well, we are not waiting for him now. Let's go to the debrief. We, of course, won't be able to claim victory here. So I fired 38 rounds, of which 4 hit. 11% accuracy, that could be better. Total flying time was 59 minutes. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Okay, let's go to the details. I want to see... Okay, my aircraft appears to be okay. Good. So I guess the damage wasn't too terrible. Probably just something like a fuel line that got disconnected or something like that, and that can be easily fixed. It's probably good that I immediately switched off the engine before more damage could accumulate. So probably an easy fix, and then we are back home to Yamets. But we see Ritter went in as well, scored a few hits less than I did, but his plane is also good, so we didn't get damaged either. That's good. That's it done. And let's see if there are any news. It is another day dawns on the Western Front. It is now the 25th of February. So I guess the 24th was a bad weather day and nobody went up. Okay. Yes, there is news. Let's first have a look. We did see this one on the 23rd. Verdun, 4th day of German advance. French troops are moving back to their third line and are only 8 kilometers from Verdun. General Henry Philippe Pétain was today appointed commander of the Verdun sector. He has given orders that no more withdrawals will take place. He has arranged for every spare French soldier to be deployed to this part of the Western Front to halt the German gains. 2 outer forts, Vaux and Douaumont, continue to hold out. 25th of February. French lose Fort Douaumont. The Germans continue to advance at Verdun and yesterday took Fort Douaumont. The French are horrified, as Douaumont was considered impregnable. The huge fort was protected by 2 layers of concrete, 1.2 meters thick, with 5.4 meters of earth on top. The fort was also defended by a 7-meter deep moat and 30 meters of barbed wire. The effect on French morale of the loss of Douaumont appears marked, both upon the remaining defenders and the reinforcements freshly arrived. Popular French sentiment within the country demands its recapture, and withdrawal from Verdun seems politically impossible. So everything seems to be going according to the German plans. And we can see here, this is actually an aerial photograph, I think, of the fort. Not sure if this is during the battle or after the battle, but you should really look up a photo. Just go to Wikipedia, Fort Douaumont. I think there's a photo of before the battle and after the battle. Even the moon is not as cratered as the fort after the battle in those pictures. It's incredible how much artillery was used at Verdun and how much damage it did. Let's hit done. Our next mission will be on the 25th. But let's go and have a quick review here. Let's go for all air units here, why not? So what happened today? We took off from Yamets, we flew to our circle up waypoint. Some aviatics were dropping bombs, a little bit south of Verdun even, wow. And destroyed some anti-aircraft guns, okay. I guess there's a balloon there that they maybe bombed, or maybe an army camp or a supply yard, something like that. Might even be an airfield. We are circling up. Fokker E2s are becoming airborne from Béchamps. More bombs are being dropped. Yeah, supplies are being destroyed, so I guess there's something like a supply yard there. Or a railhead, maybe. Yeah, boxcars. Okay, there's a railhead. Newport 11s are becoming airborne near Verdun. Caudrons are becoming airborne from Lem. It looks like we may have finished our circling up and are turning around. Aviatics are dropping more bombs. We are flying to waypoint 1. Meanwhile, aviatics are dropping more bombs. And we are now flying south to begin our patrol along the front. More bombs. These aviatics did a number on that railhead there. Okay, a Fokker E3 takes hits from a Newport 11. Quite far away from us. Here. It's those Fokkers that took off here at Bechamps. Newport 12 lands at Verdun. Yeah, Fokker was actually shot down by Newport 11. Aviatics are dropping more bombs and we are now commencing our patrol on the front line. Yes, we are. German observation balloon destroyed by friendly fire. Probably what I guess happened is that a French airplane is attacking the balloon and the anti-aircraft guns, well, their shells burst a bit too close to the balloon. Another Fokker shot down by the Newport near the balloon. Aviatics are dropping more bombs. And yeah, we are turning around now and now we should encounter, yeah, there we go. We are encountering those quadrants. And it is now taking hits from my wingman. Or from me. Yeah, my rounds are hitting. Newport 11 takes hits. An aviatic takes hits from a Newport 11. Things are happening. Yeah, an aviatic over here is taking hits. And is brought down. Newport is taking hits from another aviatic. And the Newport was destroyed by an aviatic. Nice. We have turned around and we are flying back north towards Civry. There's lots of stuff going on, wow. Especially over here. I'll have a quick look at Bechamps, which Fokker unit is over there. It says Yasta 5 here, but it's not Yasta 5 at the moment. That unit will later in the war become Yasta 5. And we land at Civry-sur-Meuse. And a little bit later, my wingman lands. And that's it. Good. Let's have a quick look at that airfield over there at Yasta, quote-unquote, 5. Into the room. I just want to check how the unit is called right now. Yeah, nothing new here. Transfer. Let's see. Verdun region. Ah, there. It is Quai-Cavaliers. They are based at Bechamps. And they had a pretty interesting time today. But they are also much closer to the center of the battle than we are, I think. So it's no wonder that they are getting more attention. And those aviatics really did a number on some poor railhead. That's nice. That's nice to see. Disrupting the flow of supplies. Good. Okay. That was an interesting mission today. An interesting encounter, I should say. We haven't seen French quadrants for a while now. So encountering them, quite nice. Going after them, even nicer. We even managed to get a few shots in, but they were already too deep within their own territory and diving towards their airfields. So we decided to bug out and to head for Civry. And, as we have seen, just in time too. Just as we were above Civry, my engine started to act up. So it's really good that we got out of enemy territory. Imagine if that had happened on our previous mission while we were close to Verdun. I don't think my engine would have survived all the way until we were back over our own territory. That might have been the end of the campaign actually then and there. So I think it's quite good that we are not going into enemy territory too often. Well, that was it for today. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you're looking forward to more. It looks like we'll have another bad weather day on the 25th. So we'll see how that plays out. For now, thank you very much for watching today's episode, and until next time, have some really great days, and goodbye.